Hello and welcome to our Monday night Bible study. We are continuing to look into the book of Ecclesiastes, and we are going to be at a very awkward section of the book today. Hopefully this will not be long, so if you'll bear with me, you may not. This is one of the ones where you're glad you're doing it virtually, lest you be stoned. But it's also, it lets you know, I'm sorry, I'm going to start my timer because I didn't start my timer last week and you know what happened. This is one of the ones that gives you pause when you're going through verse by verse on a teaching, because it would be much better just to skip this last part. But here we go. Some of you would notice if I skipped it. Hopefully. We'll see. I searched everywhere, determined to find wisdom and to understand the reason for things. I was determined to prove to myself that wickedness is stupid and foolishness is madness. I discovered that a seductive woman is a trap more bitter than death. Her passion is a snare, and her soft hands are chains. Those who are pleasing to God will escape her, but sinners will be caught in her snare. This is my conclusion, says the teacher. I discovered this after looking at the matter from every possible angle. Though I have searched repeatedly, I have not found what I was looking for. Only 1 out of 1,000 men is virtuous, but not one woman. But I did find this. God created people to be virtuous, but they have each turned to follow their own downward path. Did you feel the air kind of get a little cooler right there? You feel a little nervous about what's coming? Because I am feeling a little nervous about what's gonna follow. Hopefully this is not going to be as painful as we may think it is, as we may think it's going to be. But yeah, it may be. But luckily, it's going to be painful for all of us together. It's going to be painful for the folk watching it, and going to be painful for the folk teaching it. So, I remember I had to study all this stuff and write it. Y'all are just getting the distilled version. I had to go through all the crazy stuff in my own brain. We don't get to skip the weird part. I searched everywhere, determined to find wisdom and to understand the reason for things. I was determined to prove to myself that wickedness is stupid and foolishness is madness. Hopefully, any kids that are watching will forgive me for using the word stupid, because I know we're not supposed to do that anymore. So Solomon is going to focus on a very specific thing. He's going to find wisdom. He's going to understand it. We've been looking for it for 7 chapters now, but now we're gonna really focus in, and we're going to take care of this thing. He's going to get to the bottom of it. He's going to know for real what is, really what is the truth, what is the actual meaning of everything. He's going to find out. He's going to prove to himself once and for all that wisdom is good and foolishness is bad. Wisdom has preeminence and foolishness is wrong. Smart people are wise and dumb people are foolish. He's going to balance the books once and for all. This is going to be the final reckoning, the final understanding that what is wise is always the best way to go. This is going to be an accounting of reality. He needs to know. He needs to understand that he's not wasting his life, that his pursuits haven't been in vain. He needs to know what it means to be wise and what it means to be foolish, and he needs to understand both of these things so that he can make a reasonable judgment. And he's going to do the work. He's not just going to make a proclamation. He's going to search. He's going to study. He's going to examine. He's going to look at things from all different perspectives, and that can be a difficult thing. There are questions that we all have that I don't know necessarily that we really want the answer to. There are questions that I have that I'm not sure that I actually want the answer to. Sometimes it would be easier for me to just sit with a platitude and sit with an easy, pat response, rather than actually do the work of getting to the bottom of it and finding out what the answer is. It's easy when I fall. It's easy to say it was the devil. It's harder to say it was me. It's easy to blame the devil for stuff. Harder to blame me for stuff. Do I really want the answer to the questions? Ecclesiastes is not going to let us settle for the easy answer. Solomon's not going to let us. Now, again, if we're going to be honest with it, we can always throw up our hands. We can always quote, the last third of a verse and say, well, see, this is just the way it is. We can always ignore what God is actually trying to tell us and reach for something that is simple and easy and makes us feel better in the moment. Solomon is saying it's better for us not to do that. That wisdom is worth more. Wisdom deserves more than the simple, easy, not real answer. Ecclesiastes prods us and goads us into seeking until we get down to the foundation of what we believe. Dig to the bedrock. What is it? What is it that I believe? The Bible, Jesus tells the parable of the foolish man that built his house on the sand, the wise man that built his house on a rock, and obviously nobody wants to build their house on the sand. The problem is the foolish man didn't know he was building on sand. He didn't choose to build on sand. He just didn't get down to find out what the foundation was actually going to be. He just never examined the foundation. It's not that he built his house with a faulty foundation on purpose. Nobody does that. But when we don't know where we stand, when we don't know what we're building on, we're going to get in trouble. And this is what Solomon is telling us to do. Get down to the ground, dig down to the root, and see if your answers hold. I discovered a trap. I discovered that a seductive woman is a trap more bitter than death. Her passion is a snare. Her soft hands are chains. Those who are pleasing to God will escape her, but a sinner will be caught in her snare. So this is the first awkward portion of the evening. First of all, he is not saying that all women are bad. I think that needs to be said up front, because there are people that have taken this scripture and used it, in a comedic way. He is not saying that all women are bad. He is saying that there is a temptation. There is a temptation in all of us to be flattered. If someone, he assigns it to women, but it can be men as well. If somebody flatters us in just the right way, we talked about it with the rich man, or the wise man is corrupted by a bribe last week. If somebody flatters us in just the right way, we can be tempted to do some pretty stupid things because they think we're awesome. When you read through the book of Proverbs, specifically Proverbs chapter 2, chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 7, they talk about a seductive woman that is, the foolish man goes by her house and she calls out to him and all of this stuff, and eventually she will lure him into her house. And it's true. And taken at face value, it is also true. That's the thing about the Bible. It's true on a lot of different levels. Men can, even kings can be seduced by women. Solomon Solomon has been seduced, right? 1 Kings 11 tells us that he's got 700 wives and 300 concubines, and that he builds temples to their gods, and that he goes and he worships their gods, and his heart is led astray to their gods because of this seduction that they have and this power that they have over him. They turn his heart away from God, and at the end of his life, he looks back and he says, I've watched this happen to me, and this is, in some ways a confessional for him. But it's also all of us. We are all tempted. We all struggle with someone that flatters us, trying to make this make sense for me in my mind as I go through it. Sometimes when you write things, it's different than when you say them out loud. There are people that are overly flattering. There are people that are overly praising, and it is easy for us to dismiss that. And those people are, we brushed that out of the road. But there's some people in all of our lives. There are some people that kind of know the line to walk. And boy, they think you are awesome. And they think you are wonderful. And they think you are the greatest thing in the world. And when it comes to those people, we can have a tendency to make poor decisions, and decisions that step outside of wisdom, and we get lured into going against what we know to be right because we don't want to lose the flattery and the relationship that we have built with this individual or this thing or whatever it is. Unhealthy entanglement with things of this world can lead us all astray. It can be a person, it can be a habit, it can be a sin, or it can be a good thing, right? I know it is obvious that if you have some sort of a secret hidden sin in your life, that's a bad thing, right? I think everybody would agree with that. But what if it's a good? What if I really love work? I really want to be a hard worker. Is that bad? Is it bad for me to be a hard worker? No, it's not bad for you to be a hard worker. Is it bad for you to be a hard worker to the detriment of your walk with God? Well, sure. And again, we would agree with that. But it's not me that's doing it. It's them. It's the bad people. It's the people that are workaholics. I'm not a workaholic. I will just work overtime when it's available, and I only miss a few services a month because I'm working. And really, that's not that big a deal. And also, somebody has to mow the yard, and somebody has to do the laundry, and somebody has to do this other stuff. And so I only miss a little bit of church, and I only put off my prayer a little bit, and I only have had to cut down my prayer to 3 days a week instead of 5 days a week, and I've only had to not read my Bible every day. And so we make these little compromises, and we make them for the sake of a good, and we allow these things to entangle us because we get praise for it. Oh, that's the hardest working man I've ever seen. Oh, he does such a great job providing for his family. Oh, he reads a bunch of books. He's so smart. He's so wise. Whatever it is, we get the praise for these things, and we allow this snare to wrap around our hearts. And so we become distracted from the true good. We become distracted from the true source. We become distracted from God. And so anything that turns my heart away from God is a trap. And it's a trap that's more bitter than death, because as my heart is drawn further away from God, the things of God, the things that are true in God, the things that are real in God, the things that are righteous, those things start to become an irritant to me. And so while on the one hand, I'm talking about how good I am and how spiritual I am and how righteous I am and all of this stuff, I look at the others, at other people around me, and they irritate me and they annoy me. Not in the sense that some people can be irritating, right? And some people have personalities that lend themselves better to social butterflyism than others. But it's the good thing that they do. I start to get annoyed by their worship. I start to get annoyed by their praise. I start to get annoyed by how excited they get about going out to witness. I start to get annoyed by how excited they get about outreach. And that should be a warning sign to me. That should be a warning sign in my heart that maybe I'm entangled with something that I shouldn't be. I should start examining myself to see if there's a way, to see if something has wrapped me that shouldn't. But there is a way of escape. There is a way out of this. We don't have to stay in the snare. And so ultimately, the thing that we're pursuing is going to determine whether or not we stay in the snare, whether or not we stay where we are, or whether or not we allow God, because it's Him, whether or not we allow God to free us from that. This is my conclusion, says the teacher. I discovered this after looking at the matter from every possible angle. Though I've searched repeatedly, I've not found what I was looking for. Only 1 out of 1,000 men is virtuous, but not one woman. And so here we get to the second part that is awkward. But understand, he's looking at this, well, we're going to get to the first part first. He's looking at this from every possible angle. The ESV says it this way. I've looked at it. I've added one thing to another. I've taken account for everything, like adding things up in a ledger. I'm looking at all the people that have crossed my path, the rich people and the poor people and the Queen of Sheba and all of the wives that I've married and all of the counselors that I have and all the counselors that David had. And I've looked at all of the people in my sphere of life, and I've examined. And you know what? The phrase 1 out of 1,000 is not that he examined 999 and then finally found one. The phrase 1 out of 1,000 is like a needle in a haystack. It's a hyperbole. There's almost nobody that I have found in my life that is righteous. I found 1 out of 1,000 men and no women. And 1 out of 2,000 is not a fantastic number. And I think what he's saying is not that men are somehow slightly better. Everybody's bad, but men are slightly better. I think what he's saying is that there's just really not anybody that's righteous. There's just really not anybody that's good. And so if you look at this from a historical perspective, as Solomon writing, this cynicism has worked its way into his heart, and he is, everywhere he looks, he sees hypocrisy, and everywhere he looks, he sees foolishness, and God has given him wisdom, but that wisdom has allowed him to see foolishness in everybody. He expects people to be good. He expects people to be wise. He expects people to make right decisions, and they just don't, and it frustrates him so much, and it irritates him and it angers him because people aren't like him and people don't do the things that he would do and people don't make the decisions that he would make. And so, like us, Solomon keeps long records. We love to hold grudges. We love to remember how people disappointed us and remember how people didn't do things the way they were supposed to do and remember how people didn't do the right things. And so this anger and this bitterness builds up in our heart, and it can consume us, and we can throw up our hands and say, nobody's good. Nobody's righteous. Why should I even try? Why should I even keep working? Why should I even keep witnessing? Why should I keep bringing people to church? Why should I keep living for God? Because everybody's a failure. Everybody's wrong. There's nobody that's good enough. But I did find this. And this is going to seem like a bad thing, but we'll see. I did find this. God created people to be virtuous, but they have each turned to follow their own downward path. We are not living up to what we were created to do. God created all of us to be virtuous. And we have all fallen short. We have all turned against God. This is humankind. God created man and woman, all of us. God created the whole human family in Genesis. He created us all in His image and after His likeness. He created us for communion with Him. He created us to walk with Him. He created us to be a part of Him. He created us to love Him. He created us to be with Him. And we've all just kind of followed our own path. We've all decided, like Adam and Eve in the garden, we've grasped at the tree of the knowledge of good and evil for ourselves. And we've said, I know what's best for me. I know what's right for me. I know what I need to do. And through my own machinations and my own designs and my own plans, I have pushed away the design of God. We love to blame the devil for this. I mean, we really do. We love to blame the devil for all this stuff. But the devil really didn't have much to do with it. The devil tempted Eve. And I'm not saying the devil doesn't work in the world. Don't misunderstand me. But most of the time, the problems that I have are problems with me. The problems that I have are not. The devil is not really concerned with me. The devil's not going to fight me individually. The devil didn't give me a flat tire, and the devil doesn't cause your car to break, and the devil just doesn't do that stuff. That's maintenance issues. It's maintenance of your heart issues. The devil doesn't cause you to fall into adultery. You do that because you're not guarding your heart and you're not guarding your eyes. The devil doesn't cause you to become addicted to drugs and alcohol. You do that. The devil just doesn't do it. That's me. That's us. The works of the flesh, the devil does. The works of the flesh are these: envying, strife, fornication, murder, unthankful, all of this stuff. That's in us. That's in our hearts. That's not the devil. It's my own heart. It's my own selfishness. It's my own grasping that leads me down the road I was never intended to walk. And so from Genesis 3 all the way to the end of the book, we see this continual thing of God working to try to call man back to Him, but man following his own design. And so eventually Paul will say there's none righteous, no, not one. At least Solomon said maybe there was one in 2,000. But there's not one. In Solomon's time, there wasn't one. We search for wisdom. We search for goodness. We search for virtue, and we can't find it because there's no man that is good. But there is one. There is a man that is good. There is a man that when I've been hurt, when I've been wounded, when I've been snared, when I've been trapped, there is a man that I can turn to because there was a righteous man. Solomon didn't know him, but we do. God looks and says, man can't do. He's going to keep following his own ways. He's going to keep following his own path. So God robes Himself in flesh. And God comes to here. God enters into His creation. And He becomes the righteous one. And He becomes the model. And He becomes the sacrifice. And this is the reason for Bethlehem, and this is the reason for Calvary, and this is the reason for the empty tomb, so that there can be a righteous man. Don't get hurt. Don't get bitter. Stop looking for the one upright person in the world. Stop looking for somebody who will let you model your life after them. Stop looking at other people. Get your eyes off of other people. Get your eyes on Jesus. Just keep looking at Him. Keep focusing on Him. Because even though you can't raise yourself up, even though you can't take yourself out of the snare, even though you can't get back to that position that you should be, He can do it. He can lift you to where you need to be. He can set you aright. If I follow Him, if I trust Him, He can rescue me. And that gets us through the very awkward portion of Ecclesiastes chapter 7. Next week, we're going to start into chapter 8, and I don't think it's going to get better. So, but it will get better right at the end. And for whatever reason, almost every time I do this, I have a tendency to, I'm still working on my technical stuff because there's buttons and all kinds of stuff that I got to figure out. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me. And I love you. God loves you. And I'll talk to you next week. Lord bless you.